The following content has been generated with artificial intelligence under minimal human supervision. The data presented may contain errors or inaccuracies. The opinions expressed in this content do not necessarily reflect the vision, position, or values of Digi-all. We recommend verifying critical information with additional sources before making decisions based on this content.
Welcome to Digi-all Tech News. Today is Monday, March 30th, 2026. I'm Kylie Brooks, and this is where technology becomes clear and engaging. We've got a packed show today covering everything from Apple's bold moves into AI marketplaces to the pharmaceutical industry's massive bet on AI-discovered drugs. Let's dive right in. Apple is opening up Siri to third-party AI services with a new extensions feature in iOS 27, effectively creating what could become an AI app store. Eli Lilly strikes a $2.75 billion deal with AI drug discovery company In Silico Medicine, signaling a major pharmaceutical shift toward AI-developed treatments. Waymo's robotaxi service hits 500,000 weekly rides, but a troubling incident in Austin raises questions about emergency response protocols. OpenAI expands Codex with new plugins, moving beyond coding into workflow automation and challenging tools like Claude Code. Beijing's surprise intervention in Meta's $2 billion acquisition of Singapore-based AI startup Manus sends shockwaves through the tech investment world. Let's start with Apple's big announcement. According to Mark Gurman's Power On newsletter, Apple is planning to open Siri and Apple Intelligence to third-party services through a new extensions feature coming in iOS 27. This isn't just about adding a few chatbot options like ChatGPT or Google Gemini. Apple is creating a dedicated App Store section specifically for AI extensions. Think about what this means. Users will be able to install third-party AI chatbots directly into Siri, effectively turning Apple's voice assistant into a marketplace for AI integrations. As Gurman notes, and I think this quote captures it perfectly, a cornerstone of this strategy is the upcoming iOS 27 extensions feature, which will let users install third-party AI chatbots beyond ChatGPT and run them inside Siri. This feature will have its own dedicated App Store section, effectively creating an AI app store. This is a significant shift for Apple, which has traditionally kept tight control over its ecosystem. It suggests Apple recognizes that in the AI race, openness might be the winning strategy. Now to the pharmaceutical world, where Eli Lilly just made a massive bet on AI-driven drug discovery. The company announced a $2.75 billion deal with In Silico Medicine, a Hong Kong-listed firm that uses generative AI to develop new medications. Here's how the deal breaks down. In Silico gets $115 million upfront, with the remaining $2.6 billion contingent on hitting regulatory and commercial milestones, plus royalties on future sales. In Silico has already developed at least 28 drugs using its AI tools, and nearly half are already at the clinical stage. CEO Alex Javaronkov highlighted something interesting about this partnership. He noted that Eli Lilly has what he called a competitive edge in certain aspects of AI, describing them as better in some areas, and he specifically mentioned that Lilly has, quote, one person who has brought biology, chemistry, and automation under one roof. Andrew Adams, who leads molecule discovery at Lilly, called In Silico's AI-enabled discovery a powerful complement to their clinical development. This deal represents a major validation of AI's potential in pharmaceutical research, potentially cutting down the years-long drug discovery process significantly. Moving to autonomous vehicles, Waymo has hit a significant milestone, now providing 500,000 paid robotaxi rides every week. That's impressive growth, but it's not all smooth sailing. The service is facing increased scrutiny after an incident in Austin where a Waymo vehicle blocked an emergency response, forcing a police officer to physically move the car. San Francisco District 4 Supervisor Alan Wong has been vocal about this, arguing that first responders shouldn't be serving as roadside assistants for malfunctioning robotaxis. There's also the question of efficiency. Waymo's ultra-cautious driving style, while great for safety, means trips can take up to 30% longer than with human drivers. That might be fine for a casual ride, but in time-sensitive situations it becomes a real issue. The competition is heating up too, with Tesla and Zoox both entering the robotaxi market. Waymo has the first mover advantage, but incidents like the one in Austin show that scaling safely is going to be their biggest challenge. OpenAI is expanding its Codex development tool beyond just coding. The company has added new plugins that let users package skills and app integrations into shareable, installable bundles. Think of it like this: skills are predefined instruction sets that work like batch commands, while plugins combine those skills with app connectors and resource configurations into a single package you can share with your team or publish publicly. OpenAI is clearly targeting developers who want to automate workflows across multiple tools. There are already more than 20 plugins available, including integrations with Figma, Notion, Gmail, Google Drive, and Slack. A dedicated plugin directory is expected soon, though OpenAI hasn't clarified whether it'll be separate from the existing ChatGPT apps directory or integrated into it. This move puts Codex in more direct competition with Claude Code, which has had similar packaging features for a while. Codex starts at $200 per month, while Claude Code is available through Anthropic's Max plan at $100 monthly. OpenAI hasn't announced any pricing changes with this update. Finally, a story that could reshape how Chinese tech founders structure their companies. Meta's $2 billion acquisition of Manus, a Singapore-based AI startup with Chinese roots, is now under review by Beijing. The acquisition was supposed to validate the so-called Singapore washing model, where Chinese founders relocate headquarters to Singapore to avoid scrutiny from both Beijing and Washington, while still accessing US venture capital. But Beijing's surprise intervention has shattered that hope. Chinese authorities are reviewing whether the sale violated technology export laws, and they've barred Manus co-founders Xiao Hong and Ji Yichao from leaving China for Singapore. The deal comes amid intense US-China AI rivalry, with American lawmakers prohibiting US investors from backing Chinese AI companies directly since mid-2025. Wayne Xiong, managing partner at Argo Venture Partners, put it bluntly, "The path taken by Manus, people will not go down that route anymore." Beijing-based lawyer Yuan Chao emphasized that where you build your product matters more than where the holding company is registered. Meta has stated the transaction complied fully with applicable law, and they're anticipating an appropriate resolution. But this case is sending shockwaves through the VC community, with many wondering if Singapore washing is now a dead strategy. That's our show for today. We've covered Apple's AI marketplace ambitions, Eli Lilly's massive investment in AI drug discovery, Waymo's growing pains, OpenAI's expansion into workflow automation, and Beijing's warning shot to the Singapore washing model. We'll continue following these stories and bring you updates as they develop. Stay informed. Thank you for staying informed with Digi-all Tech News. We'll be back with more updates as they develop.